Arata was a pathetic, lonely loser whose crush was stolen from him for being a simp. But one day,
you're all adopted!
He learns that his 5 hot sisters are not his real sisters, and everything changes. Now every sister wants to marry him and tries to develop plot with him. The story starts by showing a powerful and insanely rich household known as the Shiunji family. They live inside a gigantic luxury villa, where servants take care of almost everything, from meals to daily routines. All 7 siblings stay together under the same roof, living a life most people can only dream about. The focus then moves to Arata, a 16-year-old boy who is the oldest child and the future leader of the family. One morning, he's sitting at the dining table with his younger brother, Shion, who is 15. Despite having wealth, status, and a perfect life from the outside, Arata looks stressed. His problem is simple but heavy: he doesn't have a girlfriend, and being the main heir makes that fact feel even worse. Feeling insecure, Arata asks Shion how he managed to get a girlfriend. Shion answers casually, saying it wasn't planned and just happened naturally. That response frustrates Arata, and he keeps asking for advice. Shion finally tells him to stop overthinking everything. He reminds Arata that being the eldest doesn't mean he has to pressure himself non-stop. He also brings up the girl Arata already likes. Arata admits he's trying to move slowly and doesn't want to rush things. Shion laughs and tells him that with his position as the Shiunji family's first son, he could easily clap any girl he wants. Even then, Arata doesn't believe things will work out so easily. Before the brothers can continue, their 5 sisters suddenly appear. Curious, they immediately start questioning what the 2 boys were discussing. One by one, they are introduced: Oka, Seiha, Minami, Kotono, and the oldest sister, Banri. Oka and Seiha quickly connect the dots and start teasing Arata without holding back. Things explode when Shion jokingly tells the sisters that Arata was admiring Oka's size. Oka instantly loses her temper and commands her dog to attack him. Arata ends up in pain, while the rest of the sisters laugh at his misery. No matter how hard he tries to explain the misunderstanding, no one listens. During the argument, a past incident involving Kotono is briefly mentioned, shocking everyone. The conversation shifts to how having inappropriate thoughts about a sibling is absolutely wrong. Banri suddenly shuts everyone down by pointing out each of their own faults, ending the debate instantly. Minami steps in and says that Arata is actually a kind and decent person. Hearing this praise, Arata gets emotional and hugs her without thinking. In response, Minami drops him with one clean punch. It's revealed she's training to become an Olympic athlete and reacted on pure reflex. Later, Oka asks if everyone is free on Saturday because they plan to celebrate Kotono's birthday. Shion says he's busy since he has a date. Once again, nobody bothers to ask Arata's opinion. The next scene shifts to a train station the following day. When all 5 sisters walk together, they attract massive attention. Seeing them united feels unreal, and each sister even has her own fan group. Shion is also popular with girls, while Arata is mostly admired by guys because of his strong build. At school, Arata and Shion talk in a restroom. To outsiders, their lives look perfect, but the truth is very different. At home, the sisters physically dominate them, and their parents always take the girls' side. Because they can never fight back, both brothers have been bullied since childhood. More information about the sisters is revealed. Banri is studying at a top university and training to work in healthcare. Seiya leads the science club and holds the highest academic rank in school. Oka excels in both studies and sports, especially swimming and track, and is expected to lead the student council someday. Minami is a sports prodigy who has won junior tennis tournaments repeatedly and is preparing for an Olympic future. Kotono is quiet and shy, but her cuteness makes her extremely popular. Shion then reveals something shocking: Kotono once admitted her feelings to Arata. Arata panics and quickly says it was nothing serious. Soon after, the story briefly shows the girl Arata truly has feelings for. Back at home, Arata debates sending Lala a friend request, but backs out, scared of rejection. Oka walks into his room to borrow notes and is surprised by how organized everything is. Unfortunately, Arata accidentally stares somewhere he shouldn't and tells her to dress more modestly. Oka confidently replies that it's her home and they've seen everything since childhood, leaving Arata speechless. Oka then directly guesses that Lala is the girl Arata likes. Arata gets angry, assuming Shion exposed him. Oka tries to help by sending Lala a request herself, but Arata stops her. Insulted, she storms out after yelling at him. Meanwhile, Kotono is quietly looking at an old family photo. The next day after school, Arata walks home deep in thought, wondering how his life might have changed if he wasn't born into such a strange family. Suddenly, he sees Lala with another boy, which crushes him. That evening, the family gathers for the birthday celebration. Arata sees Oka dressed beautifully. She jokes that their father only rewards people who dress properly and even compliments Arata. At the dinner table, Arata drifts into thoughts about adulthood and his future. A loud argument breaks out when Minami misplaces Oka's earbuds. Tensions rise until Arata suddenly yells at them to stop and reminds them they are family. Both girls feel embarrassed, and the mood lightens. Their father then arrives and smiles, happy to see everyone together. Before eating, he announces he has something important to reveal, something he planned to share on Kotano's 15th birthday. He says he loves them all but then reveals the truth. They are not real siblings. The room freezes. He calmly explains that everyone is adopted except Minami and Shion, who are biological twins. He made this decision together with their mother and promises not to hide anything again, even though he tells them to enjoy the celebration. Everyone is left stunned. After dinner, the siblings talk together. Minami acts normal, as if nothing changed. They agree that blood doesn't matter after growing up together for so long. Still, they feel their father could have chosen a better moment to tell them. Later, Shion asks Banri if she remembers Kotono arriving years ago. Banri claims her childhood memories are blurry, though her reaction hints she remembers more than she admits. They joke about it and agree they're still family no matter what. That night, Arata struggles to process everything. On his way to the bath, he awkwardly notices some of his sister's clothes but ignores them. Inside, he suddenly runs into Kotono. Both panic instantly. Arata rushes out, telling her to at least warn someone before entering. As he's about to leave, Kotono stops him and asks for help. Embarrassed, Arata assists her and scolds her for still needing help at her age. While doing so, she quietly compliments his strength. Flustered, Arata tells her not to stay too long and quickly walks away. Elsewhere in the house, Oka and Shion are casually talking, both agreeing that the whole day felt like something straight out of a crazy drama. They also feel uneasy for Kotono, since learning such a massive truth on her birthday must have hurt her deeply. Because she's the youngest, they believe it's their duty to keep an eye on her and stay close. Suddenly, the scene cuts to the bathroom. Out of nowhere, Kotono hugs Arata tightly from behind. Arata gets so startled that he nearly screams from shock. Back with Oka and Shion, Oka brings up the topic of siblings marrying and immediately reacts with pure disgust, calling the idea horrifying. Shion quickly explains that he was only using it as an example, and that such marriages aren't allowed anyway. However, he keeps talking without thinking, which gives Oka serious chills. She then mentions that earlier Arata was staring at her strangely, and even commented on what she was wearing. Shion is surprised but listens carefully. Oka then asks what really happened in the gaming room, because she saw Arata holding Kotono down. Shion admits he knows the full story, but promised Arata to stay quiet. Oka teases guessed that maybe Arata was overflowing and crossed a line, yet she feels something doesn't add up. After staying quiet for a moment, Shion finally explains the truth. Kotono confessed her feelings to Arata and physically stopped him from leaving. Oka is completely stunned and starts yelling in disbelief. Shion quickly calms her and confirms that Arata rejected Kotono immediately. Oka struggles to accept this, since she never imagined Kotono seeing Arata that way. Shion explains that kids around that age often confuse admiration with romantic feelings. Oka fires back, pointing out that Shion is barely older than Kotono and should stop acting like a relationship expert. Shion has no answer. The real issue now is that Kotono knows they aren't related by blood. That knowledge could change everything, and no one knows how she'll react. The scene shifts. Kotono once again openly tells Arata how she feels. Arata carefully refuses. Kotono asks why he treats her feelings as something wrong. She even says she researched the rules and found that step-siblings can legally get married. Arata calmly explains that laws aren't the problem. He tells her she's an amazing girl, but during teenage years, emotions get mixed up easily. Even without a blood connection, he still sees himself as her big brother, whose job is to protect her. After saying this, he walks away. Kotono stands still, wondering how long this confusing phase will last. Unnoticed by them, someone nearby overhears the entire conversation. The focus changes to their father, standing quietly in front of their late mother's photograph, saying that he's finally kept his promise. Just then, Banri steps into the room. Later, Arata returns to his bedroom and is shocked to find Seiha inside. When he asks what she's doing there, she avoids the question and instead asks where he went. Nervous, Arata lies and says he was just walking around, but Seiha doesn't believe him. When he asks her why she's in his room, she still doesn't answer. Without warning, Seiha pushes him down onto the bed and pins him there. Arata completely panics and yells, asking what she's trying to do. Seiha calmly tells him this is a private test and hugs him tightly. Arata's thoughts spiral first, Kotono, and now Seiha. What is happening? Seiha then reveals everything. She saw Arata and Kotono in the bathroom and wanted to check whether Arata would ever cross a line. Arata freaks out and asks how much she witnessed. She tells him she saw and heard everything, even repeating his exact words. Arata understands her intention was protection, but still thinks she could have handled it without traumatizing him. Seiya explains that marriages between relatives are banned for social and biological reasons. Even though they aren't blood-related, Kotono might still act on emotions now that the truth is out. From a physical standpoint, nothing technically stops her. Hearing this makes Arata freeze in shock. Before leaving, Seiya says one final thing. At least now she's sure Arata is a decent guy. Alone again, Arata reflects on the chaos. Within a single day, his entire world flipped upside down. For 16 years, they lived as siblings, and now that identity has cracked. The next morning, Arata gets dressed for school and sees Banri teasing him by dressing Kotono in her nursing uniform on purpose. Arata snaps back, which makes Banri fake cry just to mess with him. After more noise and laughter, they head out. At school, Arata and Cheyenne talk about how insane the previous day was. Despite the life-changing truth, their sisters are acting completely normal. Students around them are cheerful as usual. Cheyenne points out that no one at school knows the truth yet, and that revealing it could cause chaos. Classes pass without incident. After school, Arata zones out again, stuck in his thoughts. Minami approaches him, glowing with energy like nothing happened at all. They walk together, and Arata compliments her positivity. Minami says she's just living her dream and praises Arata's athletic ability. Before Arata can respond, 3 girls run up asking Minami for autographs and praising her non-stop. When they leave, Arata suggests karaoke instead of going home. Minami hesitates, then admits she skipped club practice because she failed her aptitude exam. Arata immediately offers to tutor her. At karaoke, Arata tries teaching, but Minami can't answer a single question. Instead, she sings a goofy song about refusing to study and choosing tennis forever. Arata laughs uncontrollably, realizing there's no reason to worry about her. Afterwards, Arata spots the girl he likes and hides instantly. Minami notices. As they walk, Minami opens up, saying yesterday made her wonder about her real parents and worry about Kotono. She jokes that since Arata isn't her real brother anymore, she could start calling him senpai. Arata is caught off guard. Minami then casually mentions that even if his crush already has a boyfriend, he shouldn't give up. Arata asks how she knows. She says Oka told her, instantly frustrating him. Before they part ways, Arata reminds her that studying still awaits her. The next morning, Arata runs into Kotono. They exchange greetings but barely speak. He wonders if she's pretending everything is fine. Seiya suddenly scolds him for spacing out, and Minami soon appears, proudly calling him senpai again. Shocking Seiya. At school, Arata once again hides after spotting his crush. Oka tells him to confess already. Arata replies that she's already taken. Oka laughs and says he lost before even trying, then walks off. Meanwhile, Oka's classmates whisper about Arata's looks and physique. Some even ask Oka if they can confess to him. Nervous, Oka shuts them down, saying he's weird and obsessed with training all day. The following day, all the siblings head out together to an amusement park to celebrate Kotono's birthday. Everyone is full of energy and excitement, ready to enjoy the day. While they're walking around, Minami suddenly complains that she's starving. Hearing this, Banri immediately offers to grab food and takes Arata along with her. After buying snacks and drinks, they realize something strange: the others are nowhere to be seen. Arata tries calling each sibling one by one, but nobody answers. Seeing this situation, Banri casually laughs and says they might as well enjoy the park together. She even jokes that it's like the two of them are on a date. Arata nervously asks what to do about the food, and Banri leaves him carrying all of it alone. As they walk, Banri suddenly links her fingers with Arata's. The sudden contact shocks him so much that he freezes. The situation becomes extremely awkward for Arata, and Banri notices this right away. She finds his reaction cute and keeps teasing him, enjoying his embarrassment. Eventually, they continue walking like normal, but Arata can't ignore the fact that people around them keep staring. Banri stands out too much. She's beautiful, confident, and clearly adored by many. They decide to get on a roller coaster. Banri enjoys the ride with pure excitement, while Arata struggles to keep up. After the ride ends, Arata once again tries to call the others. At the same time, the rest of the siblings are shown watching a live performance elsewhere in the park. When the show finishes, they try calling Arata back, but he doesn't answer since he's already moved on to another attraction. Eventually, the call connects, but they realize they're extremely far apart. With no easy way to meet up, it's decided that Arata and Banri will just explore on their own for now. Arata internally guesses Banri is about to call it a date again. As evening arrives, the two sit together at the food court. They're surprised they still haven't reunited with the rest, but neither of them seems worried. Since Banri is hungry, she starts eating the leftover food. Arata, meanwhile, drifts into his thoughts, replaying recent events. He asks Banri how she feels about discovering they aren't actually related by blood. Banri admits that the truth shocked her too, and she even discussed it directly with their father. She notices Arata seems down lately and asks if that's why. Arata doesn't want to bring up certain incidents, so he simply says the situation makes him uncomfortable, but he hopes their bond won't change. Hearing this, Banri smiles warmly and praises his honesty. She fondly remembers how Arata used to run to her crying whenever Oka bullied him, something Arata finds embarrassing now that he's older. As their conversation becomes more mature, a small girl suddenly bumps into Banri and almost spills juice on her. Without thinking, Arata steps in front and takes the spill himself. The child panics, but Arata calmly reassures her. Banri tells him he didn't need to do that, but Arata replies that he wants to protect her too, because she's his sister. Those words deeply touch Banri, making her emotional as she realizes how much Arata has grown. Eventually, the entire family finally gathers again. Everyone is shocked to see Arata completely soaked. Laughing it off, they decide to continue exploring. When they reach a bridge, Oka dramatically acts like a princess, while Minami plays along as a knight. Meanwhile, Arata, Shion, and Kotono head toward the restroom. Elsewhere, the remaining sisters begin a serious discussion. Seiya reveals what happened earlier in the bathroom, stunning everyone. The real shock comes when she admits she secretly tested Arata and he passed, since he showed no improper reaction. The others are confused and ask how she tested him. After hearing the details, they're left speechless. Puka even asks if she could have tested him any other way. The girls slowly calm down and realize they can't fully blame anyone. Everything happened too suddenly, and the truth about not being blood-related caused emotional confusion. Banri reminds them that Kotono is still young and shouldn't be judged harshly. She also shares that she once spoke to their father and learned that all of them were orphans. None knows their biological parents. She suggests they quietly observe things for now. When the others return, the topic is dropped, and they decide to visit the haunted house next. Oka, however, remains unusually quiet and thoughtful. Later, Arata reflects on the moment he first heard the truth. At first, it felt unreal, but now he understands how hard it must have been for their father to hide it for so long. Arata quietly thinks that nothing will change in how he feels. While shopping later, Arata stops outside a store and spots his crush with her boyfriend. At the same moment, Oka steps out beside him, making Arata extremely nervous. The two go for a walk, and Oka starts talking seriously. She says that just days ago, they believed they were twins, but now everything feels different. Arata says that no matter what, he still sees her the same way. Oka warns him that ignoring reality won't help. She recalls how everyone used to say they were truly twins as kids, always in sync. Then, unexpectedly, Oka admits she loves him. Arata is stunned beyond words. A flashback appears where Shion once asked Arata if he viewed their sisters as normal girls now that they aren't related. Arata refused to accept that idea. Shion replied that he already has a girlfriend and that relationships always involve complications. Back in the present, Oka explains she learned about what happened between Arata and Kotono. She praises Arata for handling it maturely and says Kotono isn't at fault. After saying this, she leaves. Arata is left confused, overwhelmed by her words and worried about what all this might mean. The next morning, Arata is training when Minami unexpectedly shows up early. He's surprised since she usually wakes up late. A flashback shows Minami witnessing Oka's confession the night before. Now, she's unsure whether she heard it correctly. Curiosity eventually wins, and she asks Arata if something is going on between him and Oka. At first, Arata doesn't understand. Minami quickly brushes it off and leaves, saying she'll train later. Arata remains uneasy, wondering why she asked. After finishing his training, Arata walks toward the bathroom, still stuck in his thoughts. What Minami said earlier keeps replaying in his head, especially her comments about him and Oka. Lost in thinking, he opens the bathroom door without warning and freezes. Inside, Seiya is showering, completely calm and unbothered, wearing almost nothing. Arata panics immediately, while Seiya acts like nothing unusual is happening. She casually jokes that this whole situation feels like something straight out of a rom-com anime. Arata tries to close the door, but it won't shut. He realizes Seiya's clothes are blocking it. With no other choice, he carefully picks them up and drops them into the laundry basket, doing everything he can to avoid looking toward the shower. When his eyes accidentally drift her way, he notices something strange. Seiya hasn't changed at all. She's acting exactly the same as always. Meanwhile, he's the only one drowning in awkward thoughts. Arata notices the ring on her finger, the one their mother left behind. He asks whether it finally fits her. Seiya replies that it's still a little loose, but she refuses to take it off because it reminds her of their mom. Later, back in his room, Arata barely gets a moment to breathe before Banri knocks and walks in without waiting. She immediately starts poking fun at how clean his room is, reminding him how their father used to lecture him for turning his floor into a disaster zone. Arata asks why she came, but Banri avoids answering and instead snoops around. Suddenly, she grabs his laptop and asks if he's hiding anything adult. Before Arata can react, She reads the title of a certain very famous limited edition video starring Mia Khalifa. He panics and snatches the laptop away, demanding how she unlocked it. Banri laughs and explains she didn't need the password. The email notification gave everything away. Harada wants to disappear from embarrassment, but Banri surprisingly looks relieved. She jokes that she's glad her little brother has refined taste and appreciates legends like Johnny Sins and Mia Khalifa. Before he can respond, she casually asks him out on a date. The next day, Banri takes Harada out. She brings him to a phone shop, knowing he's wanted to upgrade his phone for ages. Harada genuinely feels happy about her thoughtfulness until she starts teasing him, joking about checking into a hotel and doing hot yoga all night. When Harada picks his phone quickly, Banri asks why he didn't think longer. Harada explains he only cares about performance, not looks. That sparks a speech from Banri about how people choose phones the same way they choose partners. Some value personality, some value appearance. Banri believes looks matter too, arguing that even if someone is annoying, a pretty face helps. The shop clerk notices them together and offers a couple's discount. Harada immediately refuses, but Banri jumps in and pretends they're together just to mess with him. In the end, the deal is declined. As they continue walking, Harada wonders why Banri even invited him out, but his thoughts get interrupted when she spots an ice cream stand. While eating, Banri brings up a childhood memory, how a fight once broke out over ice cream when Minami accidentally ate Kotono's. Oka defended Kotono. Things exploded, and Kotono ended up hiding in a closet, earning the nickname Closet Fairy. That memory reminds Harada how Banri used to be terrified of ghosts. When he jokes about it, she angrily tells him to shut up, saying the thought of friendly ghosts still scares her. Noticing Harada grow quiet, Banri asks if something is wrong. She assures him she'll always have his back as his older sister. Harada tells her everything's fine. Elsewhere, Kotono sits alone in her room, flipping through photos from the birthday trip. When she sees Harada in one picture, she stares at it longer than the others. Suddenly, she gets a group chat message from Banri showing a picture of her and Harada eating ice cream together. Kotono feels a sharp wave of jealousy, but controls herself and quietly saves the image. Back on the date, Banri asks Harada to continue hanging out, which surprises him. However, her phone suddenly buzzes, and her mood changes instantly. She tells Harada she has to leave right away. Before she goes, Harada tells her she should try going on dates with someone she actually likes next time. Banri blushes hard, teasing him not to overthink things. As she walks away, everyone around can't stop staring at her beauty. Later, Banri calls Minami and tells her she couldn't get Harada to talk about what happened with Oka even after their date. Minami still refuses to believe nothing happened and sends a message, saying she might have misheard Oka's confession. Realizing she sent it to the sisters' group chat, she deletes it instantly and prays no one saw it. Just then, Oka appears asking for her turn to bathe. Minami relaxes, thinking the message went unnoticed, but she doesn't know Kotono already read it before it disappeared. Kotono realizes she now has a rival. Later that night, the family sits down for dinner. While everyone else is eating normally, Harada notices something strange. Seiha barely touches her food and keeps staring at nothing, like her mind is somewhere far away. Even after the meal is finished, she still looks distracted, clearly thinking about something important. After dinner, Harada ends up alone with Seiha. She stays very quiet, which makes the moment uncomfortable. Trying to act mature, Harada awkwardly tells her that if anything is bothering her, she can talk to him because he's her brother. The words sound stiff coming out of his mouth, and even he feels awkward saying them. Instead of feeling weird, Seiha actually looks pleased, and tells him that he's starting to sound more dependable. Out of nowhere, Seiha suggests playing a game of Twister with him. Harada is confused, and doesn't understand why she suddenly wants to play that specific game. He assumes she probably bought it online out of boredom, and now doesn't know what to do with it. Seiha then explains her real reason. She says that when she went into his room earlier, she felt emotions she didn't expect. And with her university exams coming soon, she can't afford to let those feelings distract her. Hearing this makes Harada freeze. He asks how she can talk about something like that so openly. Seiha calmly explains that if emotions go beyond a normal brother-sister bond, things could become very complicated. That's why it's better to sort everything out early. Since she's his older sister, she believes he won't hesitate to help her clear things up. At this point, Harada's thoughts spiral. He starts wondering if she might actually like him. Before he can think any further, Seiha suddenly starts the game. Harada protests, saying he never agreed to play, but Seiha reminds him how she helped him study during his exams. With no escape, Harada gives in. As the game goes on, Seiha keeps getting closer and closer. Harada grows uneasy and asks her to keep her distance. Seiha casually replies that she's only following the rules. Soon, the game reaches a confusing position where Harada doesn't know where to move, while Seiha clearly directs the situation. She blocks all his paths, leaving him cornered with no choice but to make physical contact. Harada tries to surrender, but Seiya refuses, saying that surrender wouldn't help him. When it's his turn again, he's forced into an extremely uncomfortable position, placing his foot beneath hers. His entire body stiffens as he realizes how close they are. While this is happening, Seiya starts speaking in a calm, analytical tone. She talks about how winning can bring happiness, but peace and comfort also come from connection and affection. She mentions how emotions during dating are linked to chemical reactions in the brain and starts moving toward topics about physical relationships and marriage. Arata's mind completely breaks at this point. He can't process whether she's joking, serious, or just thinking out loud. Seiya continues, saying that trust is the one thing holding all relationships together. Yet even science can't fully explain how trust works. She admits she doesn't understand love well, and she doesn't fully understand trust either. Then she asks a question that completely stuns Arata after spending decades with someone. Does trust slowly grow, or does it come from a single shared moment? And can that person still be your younger brother? Arata is completely speechless. His brain can't keep up. He doesn't know if she's insane or incredibly serious. Everything feels overwhelming, especially given how close they are physically. Finally, Seiya loses her strength and collapses onto him from exhaustion. Arata awkwardly comments that she could have fallen somewhere else. Seiya simply replies that she was too tired to care. Then she calmly announces that her test is complete, even though Arata didn't cooperate much. She thanks him before leaving. Once she's gone, Arata stares at the ceiling in disbelief. Who uses a twister game to test emotional boundaries. Completely frustrated, he shouts out loud. Right after that, Oka appears, asking why he's yelling since she heard Seiya's voice earlier. She asks what they were talking about. Arata brushes it off and says it was nothing important. Oka suddenly suggests playing a game together instead. Before starting, Oka proudly mentions that she trains almost 30 hours every week. Arata remembers their childhood, when he used to win games easily, and Oka would trap him in painful holds. That memory worries him, especially after everything their father said. He starts feeling like he might be the only person still seriously affected by the truth. When the game begins, Oka crushes him 5 rounds in a row without mercy. She teases him non-stop, clearly enjoying herself. Watching her smile, Arata wonders if the game is really that fun for her. During the match, she moves closer to him, and he notices it as well. He admits that her skills have improved a lot. Finally, Arata focuses and manages to win twice in a row, badly defeating her. Oka gets annoyed immediately. She suddenly traps him in a tight hold and says she'll let him go only if he gives up. Arata surrenders, but his thoughts drift to how close she is. Without thinking, Arata suddenly flips the situation and pins Oka down. She immediately realizes what just happened. Arata panics, expecting to get hit, but instead Oka looks at him quietly and says he's grown up. He doesn't understand what she means. Oka quickly leaves, covering her face in embarrassment and muttering about bad timing for being an older sister. Left behind, Arata can't understand her words or her reaction. After replaying everything in his head, he gets overwhelmed again and yells in frustration. Unnoticed by him, Kotono quietly steps out from a closet nearby. She had seen everything, her face red and expression full of complicated emotions. The following day passes quietly at school. All the siblings attend classes like usual, blending in with normal student life. That night, Arata spends some time alone with his father. His dad hands him a small present and asks how he's been lately. Arata answers casually, but then his father suddenly asks if there's anyone he likes. The question hits Arata out of nowhere and leaves him completely stunned. Before anything more can be said, the scene changes. Meanwhile, upstairs, all the sisters are gathered together watching a romance drama. On the screen, a confession happens outdoors, surrounded by trees and natural scenery. Banri enjoys it a lot, and says the setting feels emotional and beautiful. Huka rolls her eyes and calls it cheap and boring. She explains her own taste. Instead, she wants a successful, handsome man with a strong background, confessing on a rooftop restaurant with city lights shining below. Seiya then shares her thoughts. She says a man should have a clear life plan, solid goals, and think seriously about the future, including family responsibilities. No one asks Kotono what she thinks, assuming she's too young to be part of the discussion. Minami speaks next. She says that the place, timing, or style doesn't matter at all. What truly matters is who is standing there confessing. Surprisingly, everyone agrees with her. Just as they're about to head to bed, Kotono suddenly stops them. With a serious look, she admits that she has feelings for Arata. The sisters react calmly at first, saying they already know. But Kotono shakes her head and goes further. She says she doesn't just like him. She wants to marry him. Since they're not actually related by blood, she openly declares that she now sees all of them as romantic rivals. It's revealed that when the truth about their family was exposed, Kotono was secretly the happiest among them. The story then returns to Arata and his father. Arata questions why he even needs to hear all this. His dad explains that as the first son of the Shiunji family, Arata can't avoid matters of love and responsibility. No matter how strong someone is, feelings will eventually reach them. Arata asks why his father chose his mother. His dad jokes that it was because of her looks, but then tells the real story. He explains that while his wife spoke sharply, her heart was warm and gentle, like sunlight. That balance perfectly matched someone weak and unsure like him. His father asks if Arata still remembers their old promise. Arata says yes. When they grew older, his dad promised to show them the entrance to another world. Arata quietly declares that no matter what happens, he will protect all his siblings and keep their home peaceful. He then leaves the room. Once alone, his father looks at his wife's photograph and softly says that her choice was never wrong. The scene suddenly shifts into something mysterious. A letter appears, being read aloud. In the background, a young girl is shown. The letter begins with warm words, asking how everyone is doing and hoping they're happy. Another scene shows a girl visiting a grave, while her maid praises her outfit. A man with white hair, clearly an older Arata, stands beside her. The letter continues, saying their smiles are precious. A shadowy girl appears, with only half her face visible. The letter ends with the words, "I love you all." Back in the present, Arata is out jogging. Inside the house, Seiya tries to study, but no matter how hard she tries, she can't focus. Her thoughts keep drifting. Minami is struggling too. Kotano's confession keeps replaying in her head, making it impossible to concentrate. Minami eventually steps outside for training and unexpectedly runs into Arata. Seeing him makes her nervous, and she fumbles her words. She tries to leave with a weak excuse, but Arata sees through it immediately. When he directly asks what's wrong, Minami freezes and turns red. Arata reminds her that her national championship is coming soon. If something is bothering her mentally, it could affect her performance. Minami laughs it off and says she's fine before quickly walking away, but Arata is certain she's hiding something. Later, Banri is feeding the family dog and joking that eating alone isn't enough. He should jog with Arata or he'll gain weight. Arata suddenly appears, surprised she's awake so early. Banri explains she has college work. Arata jokes that the dog never skips meals but hates exercise. Banri laughs and says they should cut his food. The dog instantly gets angry and chases Arata around, knocking him out. Shion arrives, and they rush breakfast since Banri is running late. At school, Minami practices tennis while other girls watch in awe. They whisper that her skills have improved a lot and that her presence feels stronger. Inside, however, Minami remains distracted, her thoughts wandering, and her legs aching slightly. During break, her teammates surround her with praise. Minami responds awkwardly, almost childlike, but they praise her anyway. She then spots her senior, Nao, and challenges her playfully. They bet that the loser has to buy drinks. Minami loses and gets frustrated. Nao jokes that after graduation, Minami will need someone else to buy juice for her. She adds that 5 years later, when Minami becomes a champion, she expects free tickets. Then she opens up honestly. She admits she was worried Minami would be arrogant, but instead found her hardworking and sincere. Nao says she truly believes the team can win nationals for the first time ever. Minami is shocked by this confidence. She teases Nao, making her mad and triggering another playful challenge. Later, Minami overhears other girls talking. They say Nao didn't receive a university recommendation and may quit tennis after the championship because her parents want her to work. Hearing this, Minami finally understands her senior's real feeling. She remembers their first match, the moments they shared afterward, and decides she won't show weakness. She has to win not for herself, but for Nao. Back at the gym, Minami trains intensely despite pain. Arata arrives calmly. He asks if the championship is next Saturday. When Minami nods, he says he's going to train her. She refuses, saying she already has coaches. Arata then says he knows she's injured. Minami goes silent. She tries to deny it, but Arata explains that the maid saw her changing bandages. He understands now why she's been acting strange. Minami realizes the injury isn't the only reason she remembers Kotano's confession and how people laughed, until Seiya defended Kotano, saying she's not a child anymore. Arata checks Minami's leg carefully. She feels no pain and reacts playfully. He realizes she's built incredible endurance from years of training. He asks if her teammates know. She shakes her head, saying she doesn't want to let them down. Arata warns her the injury could get worse. Minami says she has a backup plan and wants to win for someone else. Seeing the injury isn't severe, Arata allows it but insists she visit a hospital later. They stretch together, and Arata slowly realizes Minami plots are touching him. Late at night, Arata walks slowly toward his bedroom. His footsteps pause when someone suddenly appears in front of him. It's Kotono. The sight of her instantly makes him tense. Since the awkward bathroom incident, neither of them has had a real conversation, and the silence between them feels heavy. Trying to act normal, Arata gently tells her it's already very late and she should sleep. Instead of leaving, Kotono asks him a question that completely catches him off guard. She asks if he was spending time with Minami and whether something unusual is happening between them. Arata is confused and startled. He doesn't understand why Kotono would think that. For a brief moment, he wonders if she somehow found out about Minami's injury. Still, he calmly denies it. Kotono stiffens after hearing his reply, avoids eye contact, and quietly walks away without another word. The scene moves to a tennis court. Minami is in the middle of an important match, and the crowd can't stop praising her skills and confidence. While playing, Minami thinks about now, her senior, and the struggles she's been going through. That thought strengthens Minami's resolve. No matter what, she has to win. As the match continues, Minami realizes how much her training has sharpened her movement and control. Her body responds exactly how she trained it to. In the end, she secures the win. Even though it's only a qualifying round, everyone applauds her performance, and Nao thanks her sincerely. When the team prepares to leave on the bus afterward, Minami suddenly grows quiet and anxious. Nao notices the change in her expression but doesn't question her. Later that evening, back at home, Arata helps Minami stretch. During the session, Minami explains that after telling the club about her injury, they assigned her a new professional trainer. Hearing this, Arata calmly says that he'll step back, since she now has experienced coaches to support her. Alone in his room, Arata gathers all the stretching books he bought and neatly puts them away. For now, he knows they won't be needed. The next morning during breakfast, Arata walks into the kitchen and notices Banri eating a very light meal. He warns her that skipping proper breakfast isn't good for her health. Banri laughs it off and jokes that if she gains weight, Arata can just train her harder to burn it all off. Arata asks if Minami has already eaten. Banri replies that she hasn't seen her since morning. Suddenly, Seiya appears and asks the same question. The mood instantly shifts. When the rest of the family gathers, they all realize no one knows where Minami is. Then Shion points out something alarming. Minami's tennis shoes are still at home. That shouldn't be possible if she's with her team. Panic spreads fast. They rush to Minami's room and search everywhere, but she's nowhere to be found. Just as worry takes over, Minami casually walks in and says she only went to buy snacks from the convenience store. When questioned about the tournament, she confidently says she has everything handled. Arata doesn't buy it. Later, he checks on her privately, expecting to find her upset. Instead, he finds Minami happily eating snacks without a care. Arata admits that he's worried. Minami finally tells him the truth once her injury was discovered. The coaches removed her from the team lineup to protect her future career. Arata asks if she's truly okay, giving up on winning for someone important. Minami shrugs and says she doesn't really have a choice. As Arata leaves, he looks back and sees her smiling, but it's clear the smile is forced. Soon after, Shion asks Arata to talk. Inside Shion's room, Arata explains everything. Shion then reveals something he noticed earlier that day. He heard someone crying outside early in the morning. When he went to check, it was Minami. At the time, he didn't understand why. Now, everything connects. Minami is pretending to be strong so no one worries, but inside, she's deeply hurt. The story shifts briefly to Minami alone, silently crying. Suddenly, Arata walks into her room, catching her by surprise. Moments later, the entire family piles into a car. Minami is confused until she realizes Banri is driving. Since Banri just learned how to drive recently, she's extremely nervous. Oka keeps reminding everyone that the match starts in 20 minutes, adding to the pressure. As the car crawls through traffic, Minami looks at her siblings and realizes how much effort they're making just for her. At the same time, doubt fills her heart. Is it right to return while injured? A memory flashes through her mind. Her coach strongly warned her not to compete. Nao told her the same, that healing matters more than winning. Minami responded honestly. She said tennis became meaningful because of Nao, and she wants to win this tournament for her. Those words left Nao speechless and emotional. Back in the present, Arata finally speaks. He admits he doesn't know if letting Minami compete is correct, but he asks her to promise one thing: if things go wrong, she must stop. And most importantly, she has to stop lying to herself. The match begins. Minami's team steps onto the court and immediately struggles. They lose the opening round badly, with a crushing score of 40-0. Meanwhile, the family is stuck in traffic far from the stadium. Even if they walk, they won't make it in time. Then Arata notices rental bicycles nearby. Without hesitation, they grab them and rush toward the venue. Back at the court, despite losing singles, the team regains momentum during doubles. As Arata pedals beside Minami, she finally asks why he's doing so much for her, why he's pushing himself so hard. Breathing heavily, Arata answers honestly, it's because she's his sister. A memory surfaces from elementary school. During a Mother's Day assignment, one sister couldn't write anything and broke down crying. Minami, however, wrote that even without a mother, she was lucky to have siblings who cared about her. Arata admits he never truly understood those words until now. Another memory appears: Minami injured and bleeding, yet smiling like it was nothing. Arata finally says it out loud. Minami always smiles, no matter how painful things get. It may seem foolish, but that's her strength. Watching her train every single day made him realize how dedicated she truly is. He asks her to promise she'll be careful from now on. Minami quietly agrees. The story jumps back to the tournament. Minami's school team manages to take another game, and the mood suddenly improves. Nao looks hopeful again, believing they still have a chance. At that moment, something unbelievable happens. Minami steps onto the court herself. The entire stadium freezes. No one expected to see her there. Before the coach can react, Arata suddenly drops down and pleads desperately. He says he knows his request sounds reckless, but tennis is everything to Minami. He explains that this match is tied to her future, her dreams, and her heart. Minami bows deeply as well and asks from the bottom of her soul for one chance. Seeing their determination, Nao, who had been strongly against the idea earlier, steps forward herself and asks the coach to reconsider. Faced with so much passion, the coach finally agrees. Around the same time, Minami's siblings arrive near the stadium. Minami steps onto the court for her singles match. Her chest feels tight, her palms sweat, and her thoughts spin out of control. Fear almost overwhelms her until she hears familiar voices cheering. When she looks up and sees her family waving from the stands, her nerves slowly fade. Her body relaxes. The match begins. Minami moves confidently and plays with sharp focus. For a brief moment, victory feels possible. Then time skips forward. Minami stands before her teammates and lowers her head. She apologizes, admitting she couldn't secure the win. She suggests that maybe the original lineup would have produced a better result. Silence fills the room. Suddenly, Nao speaks up. She thanks Minami and says that without her presence, the team wouldn't have advanced this far. Minami's passion gave everyone courage. Those words finally break Minami, and tears fall from her eyes. Later, her siblings wonder why Minami hasn't returned home. They consider whether she left with the team, but given the loss, that seems unlikely. Not long after, Arata finds Minami sitting alone in a quiet park. Her shoulders are slumped, and her eyes look empty. When she notices Arata, she instantly forces a smile and pretends nothing is wrong. She apologizes for losing after everyone supported her. She admits that being praised felt painful. It almost would have been easier if someone had yelled at her. Still, she thanks everyone, saying she would have regretted not going at all. Now, she claims she's satisfied and says they should return home. As she turns away, Arata suddenly pulls her into a firm embrace from behind. Minami freezes. He gently tells her to stop pretending. If she's hurting, she should let it out. That breaks her completely. Minami begins questioning herself. She asks whether becoming the world's best player would be enough to be forgiven. Would success erase this pain? She calls herself weak, saying she trained endlessly but still failed. Finally, she collapses into tears, saying she just wants to become stronger. Arata doesn't interrupt. He simply holds her until her breathing calms. The next day, Minami sinks into a warm bath. As the water calms her body, her thoughts wander to Arata. She remembers him pedaling wildly to the stadium and begging the adults for her chance. She also remembers him telling her not to hide her feeling. Thinking about him makes her cheeks warm. Her movements become restless. Her feelings toward Arata are clearly changing. Elsewhere, Oka is still furious. She insists the game was unfair and blames the referee for ignoring clear fouls. Seiya tries to calm her, saying the match is already over, but Oka refuses to let it go. Banri supports Minami, saying she was never meant to lose. When Oka asks Arata's opinion, he replies honestly, winning didn't matter to him. What mattered was Minami stepping onto the court. Banri laughs and says Arata sounds just like their father now. When Banri asks Minami if she thinks she chose the right move, Minami replies that the past can't be changed. Still, Oka keeps arguing. Minami admits she wasn't at full strength and that the injury limited her, but says her leg is improving quickly. As everyone talks, Arata quietly thinks that everyone is pressuring Minami too much. When he glances at her, Minami blushes instantly. He checks if she's overworking herself and asks whether she might have a fever. Nervous and flustered, Minami nods quickly without looking at him. Suddenly, a ball flies toward Minami. Arata reacts instantly and catches it midair. He warns Oka to be careful. Standing so close to him makes Minami's face burn red again. Banri compliments his reflexes while Oka mutters that she wished the ball hit him instead. Minami assures Arata she's fine but still can't meet his eyes. Her thoughts drift to the earlier confessions, both Oka's and Kotono's. As Arata and Oka argue yet again, Minami watches quietly, wondering if feelings like that could ever really change everything. At the same time, Kotono sits alone, also thinking about Arata. Oka suddenly enters her room after a long time away. Kotono immediately asks why she came. Oka says she wants to talk about Arata and questions why Kotono confessed so suddenly. She asks whether Kotono truly believes there's a future there. Kotono calmly responds that she already knows everything. She reveals that she witnessed Oka's confession and overheard the conversation in the gaming room. Oka looks confused and denies remembering any of that. Kotono explains she was hiding nearby and heard everything clearly. She accuses Oka of trying to push her away. Oka quickly denies it and says she only sees Arata as a brother. She insists nothing romantic happened and that she barely even speaks to him now. Hearing this, Kotono lights up with relief. She asks again, just to be sure. Oka confirms it firmly. Kotono immediately apologizes. Oka leaves, but something she's carrying makes her pause and think about Arata once more. Later, Banri realizes she forgot important materials at her nursing school. She asks Oka and Seiha for help, but both refuse. Remembering that Arata is home, she rushes off to find him. Late at night, Arata finds himself standing outside Banri's college campus with her. He looks around the dark building and jokingly says that seeing the place at night feels unsettling. Banri waves it off and tells him not to say things like that. She laughs and says that ever since she stopped being afraid of ghosts, people keep making strange comments around her. As they move forward, Arata casually asks why she chose nursing as her field of study. Banri doesn't answer right away. Instead, she walks right behind him, staying extremely close. The truth is, she feels scared in the quiet darkness, though she doesn't say it out loud. Arata notices how close she is and feels uneasy. He suggests putting some distance between them, but Banri refuses and clings even tighter, trying to hide her fear. Banri asks if Arata is also nervous and suggests humming a song so they don't feel scared. Before she can go on, Arata suddenly places a hand over her mouth and whispers for silence. Footsteps echo nearby. A night guard appears, checking the area before walking away. Once the footsteps disappear, Arata exhales in relief, saying they were almost caught. Only then does he realize where his hand had been. Embarrassed, he quickly steps away. Banri calmly tells him it's fine now and that they can keep going. As they walk again, Arata remembers their childhood days together. Back then, everything felt different. Now, being so close to her makes him oddly uncomfortable. Banri smiles warmly and urges him onward. They reach the club room, and Banri switches on the lights, filling the space with brightness. Arata asks if that's a good idea, but Banri says the guard already passed and won't be back soon. Arata looks around, curious about what a college club room looks like. Banri suddenly lights up and grabs a stuffed cat toy from the shelf. She explains she forgot it here while rushing to finish an assignment. Holding it carefully, she begins talking about a young patient from the children's ward, someone who used to sit alone and never speak. She explains that after starting this club, nurses, kids, and staff began gathering together more often. Even that silent child slowly became cheerful. Banri tells Arata that she created the club so hospitalized children could enjoy toys, comics, and company. Tomorrow, she plans to give the cat doll to that child, who is finally being discharged. Banri finally answers Arata's question about nursing. She recalls visiting the hospital with their father when they were younger. When it was time to leave their mother behind, Banri couldn't stop crying. She sat alone until a nurse noticed and stayed with her, gently comforting her. That single moment shaped her dream to become a nurse and bring comfort to children in pain. Arata listens quietly, feeling something warm inside his chest. But Banri ruins the calm by teasing him, asking if he noticed how soft she felt earlier. Laughing loudly, she looks back only to find Arata already walking ahead, pretending not to hear her. She shouts and runs after him. The story jumps to the next day at the hospital. Children laugh as they receive new toys. Banri takes a photo and sends it to Arata with a message thanking him. Arata smiles softly at the picture. The following day at school, test results are announced in Oka's class. Students whisper about their scores. When Oka's grade flashes on the screen, it shows a failing result. Her face tightens as stress floods her expression. Saturday arrives. As Arata gets ready, he sees Oka leaving with a backpack. He asks where she's going. She casually says she's heading to Yamanashi. Arata is stunned and asks if she's serious. Oka snaps back, says goodbye, and walks off. Arata stands there confused. With a 3-day break ahead, he assumes she's on a short trip. But 3 days pass, and Oka doesn't return. At the train station, the sisters gather, noticing people staring. Everyone knows Oka is missing. Her friends say their calls went unanswered. At school, classmates approach Arata, saying Oka never skipped school and club work has stalled because she's gone. Arata admits he has no information but promises to inform them if he learns anything. Back home, the family gathers. Seiha admits she's growing worried. It's been 3 days, and no word from Oka doesn't make sense. She asks Arata if he spoke to her. He says no. Seiha teasingly points out that they're twins. Arata jokingly responds that he didn't expect Seiha to worry this much. Suddenly, Banri announces she found Oka's signal. It's near Mount Fuji. Arata freezes. That location doesn't match what Oka told him. Confusion spreads. Some think the tracking app is wrong. Arata's thoughts spin. Why Mount Fuji? Why no contact? The sisters try to remain calm and say Oka can handle herself. They decide to eat dinner, but Arata stays silent, troubled by the thought of Oka being alone for days. The scene switches to Oka relaxing in a hot spring. She asks the innkeeper if she can extend her stay. The owner agrees, explaining it's off-season. Alone, Oka mutters that she needs to confirm something. Back home, Arata begins packing winter clothes. Banri asks why. Arata tells her he's heading to Mount Fuji to bring Oka back. Banri suggests leaving the next day. Arata agrees but asks to be informed immediately if her location changes. Banri tries to stop him, but Seiha enters and says they're trusting Arata with Oka's safety. Arata nods firmly and promises to bring her home. After a long journey, Arata finally arrives near Mount Fuji and tracks Oka down to the inn where she is staying. The moment Oka sees him standing there, her eyes widen in surprise. She immediately asks why he came all this way. Arata lets out a small smile, relieved that she's safe. He tells her that he walked for almost an hour just to reach this place. Instead of feeling happy, Oka looks irritated and asks him what his reason was for coming. Their conversation slowly turns into a heated back and forth. Arata explains that he didn't come to argue. He only wanted to make sure she was okay and planned to take her back home. Oka coldly replies that she never asked him to follow her. With no other choice, Arata decides to stay at the inn for the night. Later, as they prepare to sleep, Arata feels extremely uneasy. Sharing the same room makes his thoughts run wild. Old memories suddenly resurface, moments from the past, when they were far too close for comfort. He tells himself to calm down and not let those thoughts control him. Oka then tells him to face the other direction so she can change. Arata quickly turns around and starts apologizing over and over again. Oka sounds confused and asks why he's even sorry, since he's doing what he's supposed to anyway. As she changes, Arata struggles to keep his thoughts clean. He mentally scolds himself, wondering why his mind keeps drifting into awkward territory. Moments later, Oka announces that she's done changing and immediately lies down to sleep. After some silence, Arata breaks it by asking why she's skipping school when her goal of becoming student council president is so close. Oka responds flatly, saying no one ever said she planned to return. That answer annoys him, and he firmly insists that she has to go back. Oka chooses not to respond. After a pause, she suddenly asks something soft and fragile, whether people even care about her anymore. Arata answers honestly. He tells her that everyone has been worried sick, talking about her constantly both at home and at school. Trying to lighten the mood, he recalls a story about their parents. He reminds her how their father once carried their mother on his back here at Mount Fuji after she hurt her leg. Two strangers shared one moment, and that moment became the start of their family. He then hesitantly asks if she believes in fate and soulmates. Oka thinks for a while before quietly asking if fate can connect siblings too. Arata freezes and immediately shuts that idea down, calling it ridiculous. When Oka casually mentions that Kotano has feelings for him, he stops the conversation completely and tells her to drop the subject. He was about to ask why she came to Mount Fuji in the first place, but he notices her breathing has slowed. Oka has already fallen asleep. Without saying a word, he gently covers her with a blanket. The next morning, Arata wakes up and realizes the room is empty. Oka is gone. His frustration spikes immediately. On the bed, he finds a short note that reads, "I'll get home before you." The scene shifts to Oka walking alone up the mountain. Not long after, Arata receives a tense phone call from Banri. He explains that Oka disappeared early in the morning, leaving only a note behind. Banri checks her location and admits it doesn't look like Oka is returning home at all. Arata tells her to alert him the moment anything changes, then rushes off to search for Oka. Oka stands in one spot for a long time, drawing the attention of nearby hikers. Some whisper that they saw her here the previous day as well. She stares down at a pair of earrings resting in her palm and begins doubting herself. Skipping school, running away, and pushing Arata away, everything suddenly feels like a mistake. Lost in her thoughts, she starts heading down the mountain without paying attention. Before she realizes it, the trail no longer makes sense. Every direction looks the same. Panic sets in. She slips. A sharp pain shoots through her leg as she crashes to the ground. She tries to stand, but her body won't cooperate. Her phone dies. She yells for help, but no one answers. Back at the inn, Arata notices Oka's bag is still there. Banri soon tells him that Oka's phone signal was last detected near the mountain's peak. Everything clicks. Oka never left. A memory flashes in his mind. Oka's 5th birthday, when their father gifted her earrings that once belonged to their mother. Now, those very earrings sit in Oka's trembling hand. She's exhausted, starving, and in pain. Rain soaks the ground beneath her. She closes her eyes, convinced no one is coming. Then she notices something reflected in the earrings. A familiar face. She slowly lifts her head and sees Arata standing there. Memories rush back, laughing with her dad, wanting to talk to him days ago but walking away instead. As soon as she tries to stand, pain knocks her back down. Arata rushes forward and tells her to climb onto his back so he can carry her down. Oka weakly refuses, pretending she can walk. Arata snaps, telling her to stop acting tough and listen for once. Embarrassed, she climbs onto his back and jokingly asks if she's too heavy. She answers herself before he can, then hears him say she's actually very light. As he walks, Arata wonders if this is how their father once felt. The path grows rough, and heavy rain begins pouring down. Oka regrets everything, while Arata only thinks one thing: finding her was all that mattered. As they move, Oka finally explains why she came. She says she saw a video claiming Mount Fuji could connect people with lost family members. She wanted to speak with their mother. When Arata asks if it worked, Oka starts crying. She says maybe their mother didn't come because she wasn't related to them by blood. She admits she feels betrayed, confused, and unable to face school or even their dad anymore. Arata softly tells her that nothing has changed for him. Blood doesn't define family. To him, she will always be his sister. Oka says everything feels different to her now. She asks how he even managed to find her. Arata replies that as long as he sees her as family, he will always come looking, no matter where she runs or how much trouble she gets into. If she gets hurt, he'll share that pain. If she feels lost, she can always talk to him. Oka is overwhelmed by his words. Somewhere else, their siblings struggle toward Mount Fuji through heavy rain and unclear directions, unable to contact Arata and terrified of what might happen next. At last, Arata and Oka arrive at a nearby hotel. The staff quickly help Oka by cleaning her injured leg and wrapping it properly. After resting for a short while, the two of them check out and begin heading back home. As they start walking, Arata reminds her to be careful and watch her steps. Oka just laughs and tells him to relax. She jokes that she can't keep depending on him forever and insists she's fine on her own. They barely walk a few steps before familiar faces appear in front of them. All of their siblings are standing there, waiting. The moment everyone sees Arata and Oka, they rush forward with relief written all over their faces. Oka looks shocked and asks why everyone came all the way here. Banri answers honestly, saying they were terrified something bad might have happened and just wanted to confirm she was safe. While checking Oka, Banri notices something else. Both Oka and Arata are completely soaked. Surprised, Arata asks how they all managed to reach so fast. Minami explains that the moment school ended, they didn't even stop to rest and came straight here. Seiha adds that when they told Minami Arata had gone searching for Oka, she refused to believe it and thought he might have disappeared too. Minami blushes deeply and defends herself, saying she was just worried, and her imagination ran wild. Arata smiles softly and thanks her for caring so much. Soon, everyone squeezes into the car to head back. Seiya keeps telling Banri to drive faster, but Banri is still nervous and refuses to speed up. As they ride, the others start questioning Oka about why she suddenly went to Mount Fuji and even skipped school for it. Oka stays quiet for a moment, before gently replying that she only wanted to visit the place where their parents first met. Seiha agrees and says it would be nice if everyone visited that place together someday. When they finally reach home, everyone gets out of the car. Oka tries to wake Arata, but he doesn't react at all. The moment she places her hand on his forehead, panic hits. He's burning with fever. Everyone freaks out immediately. Seiya lifts Arata carefully and carries him straight to his room, laying him down gently. The next day at school, Oka's classmates surround her, asking where she disappeared to for the past few days. Oka lies smoothly, saying she went to visit relatives and accidentally injured her leg. One girl then asks why Arata is absent today. Hearing his name, Oka starts wondering how someone so strong managed to get sick. The entire day, she can't stop thinking about him. Back at home, Banri is busy cooking for Arata, while Minami and Kotano are doing homework nearby. Banri asks who wants to take the food upstairs. Instantly, both Minami and Kotono raise their hands, blush, and glance at each other. Banri pauses for a second, then assigns Minami to deliver the food and asks Kotono to help with dishes instead. She quietly tells Minami that keeping Arata and Kotono apart for now might avoid unnecessary trouble. Minami turns red, clearly affected. Later, Seiha informs everyone that Arata's fever has gone down a bit, and he may return to school soon. Just then, Oka enters the room, and the others immediately start scolding her. They blame her for Arata getting sick, saying if she hadn't gone to Mount Fuji, he wouldn't have chased after her in the rain. Banri adds that Arata pushed his body too far and needs proper rest. Inside Arata's room, Oka sits beside his bed, apologizing repeatedly. She admits that when he saved her, she felt genuinely happy. She says she usually pretends not to care, but his words about helping people without needing a reason deeply touched her. Then she finally confesses something she always wanted to tell their mother. Looking straight at Arata, she admits she likes him not as a joke, but seriously, and believes he's perfect for her, even if he still sees her as just family. With trembling courage, she says she loves him. Outside, Banri wonders where Oka went. Minami replies that she probably entered Arata's room, thinking she went to return the food plates. The sisters begin discussing how Oka's actions caused so much chaos. Minami mentions Mount Fuji again, and Seiya says she feels there's something deeper behind Oka's behavior. Then suddenly, Kotano blurts out a completely random idea, saying maybe Oka went there to fly a kite. Everyone freezes in shock, before bursting into laughter as Kotono awkwardly explains her logic. They all praise her imagination. Back in Arata's room, Oka leans down and kisses him softly, apologizes under her breath, and quietly leaves. The shock hits hard. Arata was awake the entire time. Some days later, the whole Shiunji family visits their father's countryside rest house for a short break and golf outing. Walking around, Arata realizes how much everyone has grown since their last visit. Banri suddenly grabs him playfully as usual, teasing him non-stop. Arata pushes her away, slightly annoyed. His thoughts quickly drift back to Oka's confession and the kiss, leaving him completely confused. Oka walks up and asks if he's feeling okay. Arata panics and awkwardly lies, saying he feels dizzy. Oka looks surprised, pointing out that never happens to him. Arata nervously laughs it off. Later, Cheyenne reveals he visited someone, claiming to know about his real parents. Arata is shocked, but Cheyenne calmly explains that while he's curious, the family he has now is what truly matters to him. Arata agrees, saying Cheyenne hasn't changed at all. That evening, everyone gathers for a barbecue. The atmosphere is warm, filled with laughter and food. Kotono brings a special dish just for Arata. Nearby, Minami quietly searches through her bag and pulls out an old denim patch, staring at it with mixed emotions. Night settles in, and the whole house falls quiet as everyone goes to sleep. Later, Oka wakes up and notices that Arata is not in his room. Curious and uneasy, she looks around. At the same time, Arata is sitting alone inside the sauna, completely lost in his thoughts. He keeps thinking about Shion and his choice to search for his biological parents. Arata tells himself that no matter what the truth is, this family is still his real home. Even so, he believes that if any of them ever decide to look for their real parents, he should support them without hesitation. As his thoughts shift, Arata suddenly worries about Oka. He steps out of the sauna, and right there, he finds her sitting nearby. She casually points out how little time he managed to stay inside, and jokes that he has grown weaker. Arata is startled, realizing she has been there the whole time. Oka explains that she sat there the moment he entered the sauna. Arata tries to leave, but Oka reminds him of their childhood, when they used to compete to see who could endure the sauna the longest. That memory throws Arata into another round of nervous thoughts, yet he goes along with it, and they end up sitting in the sauna together. While Oka stays calm, Arata's mind refuses to slow down. He keeps wondering why he always ends up in situations that make him uncomfortable. Out of nowhere, Oka brings up the topic of relationships, and asks about his plans for getting a girlfriend. Arata is caught off guard and questions why she would even ask something like that. Oka shrugs it off as simple curiosity. Arata admits that nothing like that is happening in his life at the moment. Around this time, Minami notices that both Arata and Oka are missing from their rooms. Soon after, Arata steps out of the sauna looking mentally exhausted, silently wondering how Oka's endurance has become so strong. That is when Oka asks him about Lala, the girl he once liked. Arata answers honestly, saying he no longer has any feelings for her and that she has already moved on. He also opens up about how he struggled to get over her and how he believes no one would ever fall in love with someone like him. After hearing this, Oka suddenly stands up with a bright expression, says something cheerful, and walks away, leaving Arata completely confused. Later, Oka sits alone in the bathroom, reflecting on her recent behavior. She realizes she has been sticking too close to Arata and cannot fully understand why. A childhood memory comes back to her, reminding her of the times they sat in the sauna together and talked openly about life. As that memory fades, Oka realizes she may have liked Arata since long ago. Embarrassed by her own thoughts, she silently scolds herself. Meanwhile, Arata sits alone outside, thinking seriously. He tells himself that whatever is happening between him and Oka needs to stop. If it doesn't, things could turn out just as complicated as they did with Kotono, and he cannot allow that to happen. Early in the morning, Minami appears and surprises Arata. She asks him to come somewhere with her. Soon, they arrive at a flower garden. Arata immediately notices that Minami brought him there intentionally. He also sees that she is wearing a skirt for the first time instead of her usual sports clothes, making him realize how much she has changed. As they walk through the garden, Minami thanks Arata for helping her when she injured her ankle. He brushes it off, saying it was nothing. Surrounded by couples, Arata begins to feel slightly uncomfortable. Sensing this, Minami asks him a personal question about what kind of person he would want as a future partner. Arata hesitates, but answers honestly, saying he wants someone who understands him and makes him feel safe, even in awkward moments. Minami quietly accepts his answer. Soon after, Arata notices a price tag still attached to her skirt. When neither of them can remove it properly, Arata awkwardly uses his teeth, leaving both of them embarrassed. Later, as they explore the garden, Arata takes photos of Minami and wonders why she feels so different today. That is when Minami admits that she likes someone. Arata is stunned and realizes that everything she did makes sense now. He doubts whether his earlier words helped her, but Minami assures him they meant a lot. As Minami walks toward a bell tower, Arata reflects on whether he can truly remain just an older brother figure to her. Yet, the moment love crosses his mind, his thoughts return to Oka, leaving him frustrated. Later, the whole family gathers at a swimming area near a waterfall. Everyone is enjoying themselves. Arata and Shion arrive together, watching all the sisters having fun. Oka jumps from a rock into the water, clearly enjoying herself. Minami encourages Arata to jump with her, and they do so together. While swimming, Minami keeps glancing at Arata. When it's time for lunch, Arata notices Seiya standing aside and realizes her top is twisted. Embarrassed, he helps return it, and they rejoin the group. After that, Banri asks Arata to swim with her since it has been a long time. While swimming, she accidentally falls onto him, putting Arata in an extremely awkward situation. He realizes that knowing they are not related has changed how he reacts to moments like this. Near the waterfall, Arata slips because of the strong water, and Banri apologizes. She asks something important, but Arata cannot hear it because of the noise. From a distance, Kotono watches them and feels jealous. Later, Kotono asks Arata to walk with her to the vending machine. As they walk, Arata senses she wants to say something but cannot find the words. Once there, she finally admits that she said something hurtful to Oka, which made her leave for Mount Fuji. She talks about how she always felt protected but never trusted with responsibility and recalls how Arata once saved her from drowning, making her wish things could have been different. Arata is shocked but reassures her. They return to the group, and later everyone goes to a nearby church to watch a light show. That night, Arata walks alone, questioning whether Oka's kiss was real or just his imagination. By chance, he overhears a private conversation between Oka, Minami, and Kotono. Kotono apologizes for causing pain and admits her feelings for Arata. Minami also admits that she likes Arata, saying she is now sure of it. Oka then admits she feels the same. The three decide that no matter who Arata chooses, they will remain sisters and treat it as a fair competition. Arata stands frozen, overwhelmed by everything he just heard. In the end, the scene closes with someone silently writing all of these events down in a notebook, recording everything that has happened. And that's where this video ends. Watch this following video, and I'll be back with a new one.